Hi guys, and welcome back to another Game of Thrones review right here on Dedicated to Art. I am as usual your host, Kees, joined by just Ryan McLennan for this episode. And this episode is something. As of right now, it is by far the lowest rated episode on IMDb. It also has a low rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it seems that it is a very controversial episode, to say the least. Some people do like it, some people even love it, but I have seen a lot of backlash to this episode. I personally liked it, especially the first half. I thought the first half was really strong, and then the second half raises a whole lot of questions. But I wonder, Ryan, what are your thoughts overall on this episode?
I really liked it, actually. A lot of the backlash is kind of confusing to me. I think it's because all of these episodes, as we're getting close to the end, so much is happening that people are really getting really nitpicky about certain things, because if it doesn't go the exact way that in their head they thought it might or they want it to, then they're going to be disappointed automatically. So you have all these people that are seeing what's happening and they're like, ooh, this isn't really what I want, so I don't like it. But so far, I like that a bunch of crazy stuff has been happening, because we definitely get some very interesting developments in this episode.
Oh boy, do we! There's a lot going on in this episode, so we'll just go by the episode from start to finish.
Sounds good.
So it starts off as we predicted with the aftermath of the battle. A lot of dead people, and they need to be burnt, or at least like buried, burned, whatever. And we need some also time for the audience, not just the characters themselves, but also for the audience to realize what has happened, that there were a lot of losses. We need to mourn these losses. And Jon gives a pretty good speech. And after that, they have a feast, they eat, drink, and a lot of people get laid. It's really funny how many people get laid in this episode. That was honestly one of the highlights of this episode. I laughed so hard at that. Some of the people who get lucky, some of the people who get lucky with each other. There's a lot going on at the beginning. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the beginning of this episode?
Yeah, it was fun. And especially you get a sense of, okay, this is all that we lost. And it's a lot, because you have all of these huge funeral pyres just stacked with bodies. And, we get our moments with different people, such as, it starts with Daenerys and Jorah.
Yes.
And I think that it's interesting how it then transfers over into everyone's really mellow at the beginning of the feast. It's not your standard scene that you would expect to see as far as a feast goes, because everyone's quiet and kind of just eating and exchanging awkward glances. And then Gendry goes to, supposedly, I guess, look for Arya to ask her out again. But Daenerys stops him and says, really, I think that what's so interesting about that scene is it's not because she's being nice. She's not really doing it for his sake. She's doing it for her sake, to get rid of a possible, contender to the throne.
She wants to have essentially another person on her good side.
Right.
And she didn't even know if Gendry was on her good side. What she does realize is that Gendry is the only living Baratheon still there. All the other Baratheons are dead. He is the only one. So he is the only one who has any claim to anything Baratheon, which is, first of all, yes, indeed the throne, but also Storm's End. And that's why she is like, I will name you Gendry Baratheon. So first of all, she actually acknowledges that he's not a bastard. He's a true-born Baratheon. And he has claim to Storm's End, a castle that has been deserted for I don't know how long.
A long time.
Yeah. And in his excitement, he goes to Arya, he kisses her, and he's like, you want to be my lady? And Arya's like, no, that's not me.
Which I was so nervous that for a second she was going to be like, yeah, and, I'll be your lady, but also I'm going to, do archery and murder people and all of that stuff. And they were going to try to mush those together. So I'm glad that she stayed true to character and said, no, come on, dude, stop it. That wasn't what this was about.
Makes perfect sense for Arya's character, and also it was a callback to in the very first season when Arya is doing some practicing for the dance master, where at one point Ned comes to her and talks to her about her being a lady, to a lord in a castle and getting kids, and she says the exact same line to her father as she does now to Gendry. That's not me. And then Arya continues with her stuff, and that's that. I thought that was a really nice callback.
Yeah, I liked it, and I liked how Daenerys turns to Tyrion and says, "You're not the only one who's clever," essentially, because she's working on one, getting someone over on her side, and two, removing any possible contenders to the throne, which brings us into the next bit of the scene, which is Tormund and all these other adoring fans saying how badass is Jon Snow because he rode on a dragon and defeated the armies of the dead. And, you know, he came back to life and he befriended the wildlings. And isn't he such a great guy and shouldn't he be king? And she's like, oh, you have.
Yeah, and it's really telling where Jon is completely surrounded by friends and everyone is adoring him, and Daenerys is secluded on the other side of the table, completely alone. Nobody's admiring her, even though, in my opinion, Daenerys did a lot more in that battle than Jon did. To be fair,
right?
But yeah, it really shows that that's throughout this entire episode that it really shows that Jon is the loved one and Dany is losing everything. Right. Everything. She's in a really bad place after this episode. So, yeah.
She's pretty quiet throughout the whole scene, too, until she finally just gets up and leaves, because besides what she does for Gendry, and then she gets in her sour little mood, and the whole scene really plays out based off of her emotions. Yeah,
that's true. So, yeah, a lot of people get drunk and get, I don't know what the word is, but everyone just wants to fuck. And it's really funny how it plays out. You have, Tyrion, Jaime, and Brienne play Tyrion's drinking game that he invented in season 1. Tyrion makes, the game is essentially that someone makes a statement about the other's past. If the person is right with the statement, then the person who the statement was about has to drink. If it's wrong, then the person who made the statement has to drink. And this leads to Tyrion claiming Brienne has never had sex with anyone. So then, she gets upset because it's upsetting, I guess. And Jaime goes after her, even though Tormund is there.
Yeah, he was.
Jaime goes after her. And Tormund is like completely heartbroken. I felt so bad for Tormund. Throughout these past couple of seasons, every time he and Brienne were together, it was just the best thing. And I was like, at one point, it would be so nice to have that. But realistically, it is more realistic that Jaime is the one and not Tormund.
Yeah, and also Tormund. It's almost more interesting that he doesn't end up with her because he wants to go back to the north anyway. And Jaime, he has his scene towards the end again with Brienne where she, basically, to skip ahead a little bit, she's like, hey, stay with me here at Winterfell and be with me. And he's like, I'm not a good man. I don't know why why suddenly everyone wants me to be so great when that's not who I am. I'm a horrible person and it's all for Cersei. But as far as other people that had sex, you had Podrick going away with 2 women.
2 girls.
So maybe his reputation precedes him. I don't know. And then the Clegane guy, he says
no.
Yeah, which is surprising, I feel like.
Well, he's not. He just didn't want to. And to be fair, we have never seen him been with a woman throughout the entire show. I believe. He has something else on his mind. He is like, I want to celebrate when all this is over, not just this battle, but when the throne is also decided, and especially when his brother is dead, because. We are so getting Clegane Bowl in the next episode.
Bowl, yeah.
Oh my
So the
God.
Hound the Hound also has his little conversation with Sansa, which was kind of. I saw a lot of people complaining about how it's like, oh, you're only who you are because of all these horrible things that happened to you, and like, oh, thank God you got, forced to have sex with someone, and it's like, oh, well, that's not really a great way to say it. I think that it would have been better if she's like, I went through all of this and came out the other side. It didn't make me who I am. I already was, yes, she was a child and she was kind of stupid and all of that, but I think she always was a Stark and she always had that in her. She just grew up and made it to the other side of all this horrible shit that she's been through. So I get where they were going with it, but the conversation was a little weird, and it didn't. I agree with a lot of people that have said they could have approached it a bit better.
Well, to be fair, both the Hound and Sansa never had any kind of relationship really.
No,
I believe the last time they had a conversation was in like season 2, or maybe. Oh no, wait. I think either season 2 or season 3. No, it definitely is season 2 because in season 3 the Hound is already away from King's Landing. So the last time they had a conversation was right after the Battle of Blackwater, where the Hound offers to take her with him, and she refuses, of course.
Yeah.
It is interesting to think what would have happened to her if she had said yes, but that's of course that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me go through my show notes quickly. Oh, so yeah, after the feast, Daenerys talks to Jon about his true name. And again, this once again shows Daenerys is panicking. Really, she doesn't know what to do. She's losing everything. She already lost her armies, Jorah. She's about to lose a lot more, and she's panicking. And that's why she begs Jon not to tell anyone. And what does Jon? He tells Arya and Sansa. It's like, God damn it.
It's no one's fault but Daenerys's, to be honest, in this situation, because how can you first of all ask him not to tell his family, and then of course she was right. As soon as Sansa hears it, she's gonna be like, shit, like what do I do with this information? And she tells the only person she feels like she can confide in, which is Tyrion. And then Varys, of course, once you tell Tyrion, he's gonna tell Varys, and then once you tell Varys, it's like Varys said, it's not 8 people know, it's not a secret anymore. It's not a secret when more than like 2 people know it. But all this to say, Daenerys could have gotten out ahead of the problem and been like, okay, yes, we're just going to own up to it, and we're just going to go the Targaryen way. And even if we don't have a relationship, we can still be, she still loves him, first of all. And even besides that, you can just be the power couple you are without, having to be together.
To be fair, it is not out to the 7 Kingdoms that they have a romantic relationship. It is only out to 7 Kingdoms that Jon bows before her. Right. However, I think what they what Daenerys probably should have done is own up to the fact and say that they're gonna rule together.
Exactly.
Like that Daenerys rules on the Iron Throne and that she gives the North to Jon. So then you give the North to, someone that people want the North to belong to. That probably would have been a smarter move. But yeah, she's panicking.
Yeah, or have him somehow be a steward of other parts of the kingdom. Basically, no matter how you divvied it up, it was very unintelligent, I think, to just be like, oh, no, we're not going to talk about this at all. And you can't tell anyone, even though it was really obvious that he was still going to tell his sisters. So it's just like, it was a bad approach for her. And I think because her focus is like, now that the Iron Throne is so close, like physically it's so close to her, and she can feel like she's almost there. She defeated the army of the dead, and now all she has to do is get past Cersei. She doesn't see the armies. She literally just sees Cersei as the sole obstacle standing between her and the throne. And that's really getting in her way of thinking rationally. She's starting to have all of these horrible decisions, like just rolling up into King's Landing the way that she does. But, that's later in the episode.
We'll talk to that about that in a bit.
Basically, what happens right after, as far as like John giving up the secret, I don't see how she couldn't have expected that.
Nope. But anyway, as we're talking about the Iron Throne, yeah. Now Daenerys, that's the second. The first half was really just wrapping up in Winterfell, and now the second half focuses on getting to the Iron Throne. Daenerys has her sights set. We need to get there. We need to take King's Landing, and we just need to make sure that we get this done because, of course, and we already kind of know the next episode will be the battle for the throne. Before we actually go on the journey, we do say goodbye to some characters. Ghost and Tormund go north to where the Wildlings live. Tormund doesn't want to go with Jon. He prefers the north, not the north as in Winterfell, because Winterfell is still the north. No, he prefers beyond the wall for some reason, especially now that there are no... Well, and now that there are no dead men living there anymore, it's a lot more hospitable, I assume. Yeah, and then an issue that a lot of people have, and I kind of agree, Jon doesn't even say goodbye to Ghost. He doesn't even pet him. He doesn't say... It's like he looks at him, it's like, bye, okay.
Jon isn't exactly the most sentimental of people, though.
No, true, but he does say a very heartfelt goodbye to both Sam and Gilly, and he has been his relation with Ghost throughout the show has been quite nice, and especially in season 4 when they're reunited, it's a very nice moment. And now he just kind of ignored. And the funny thing is, I saw people joke about it, like, well, maybe he prefers his new pet Rhaegal. Oh. We'll get there in a bit. We'll get there in a bit.
Yeah, I was sad to see Ghost go because I guess it was because their budget is more likely to go towards the dragons. But I really wish they incorporated the direwolves into the show more over the years. True. And that's been one of the big disappointments overall. So maybe that's why I didn't care so much that we didn't get this heartfelt goodbye. Because they barely get any screen time anyway, so
fair enough.
But anyway, the goodbye with Sam and Gilly, that was really nice. I did like
that was nice. And as they also address in the episode, the friendship between Sam and Jon is so genuine. It's so nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now another thing, from this point on, there are a lot of things that happen, and you're like, wait, how did this happen? Because another thing, apparently Bronn can just walk into Winterfell, get right into the room with Jaime and Tyrion with no problem. He's wearing complete Lannister outfit. He has a crossbow with him, but nobody even bats an eye, and it's like, oh, and there are Tyrion and Jaime. What?
He probably paid some people off or something along those lines.
Maybe. Anyway, as at least I expected, of course he doesn't kill them. Like, he is too good with friends, and especially after he says, oh no, I knew the moment that I saw those dragons that Cersei is going to die. I just want to make a deal with you guys now. Yeah.
He's just using that for leverage. And I think that his friendship really isn't that strong because, I mean, he was pretty much done with Tyrion's bullshit. And he's like, look, I'm not here to be all friendly with you. Either you give me something better than River Run or you're dead. And I think he would have killed him if he really had to. Or at least Jaime to then scare Tyrion into promising him something.
Well, he does get Highgarden. That seems like a pretty nice castle. Yeah. Pretty nice location. So,
will he actually get it is the question, but yeah.
That's of course the question. But, well, at least he does have faith in the fact that Daenerys will take the throne. Because he thinks that the fact that she has dragons and an entire army, will get her the throne. She is running out of options though. But yeah, he gets promised Highgarden. If he does get it, yay for that. Now, then everyone gets to leave. Everyone gets to leave to King's Landing. Arya and the Hound ride together away.
I like.
Call back to seasons 3 and 4, where they were together, of course, and where previously them going on the road together was kind of hostile. Now it's because they actually like each other, respect each other, and it's presumably to kill the people they want to kill. The Hound wants his brother dead, and Arya wants Cersei dead. She's on the list. I believe she's first on the list. So,
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes in the next episode.
Yeah, I think that they are more likely to, even though we won't see it, they should arrive before Jon and the army. They should be able to travel. They're traveling lighter. They should be able to travel faster.
Yeah.
So I would assume that's where Arya is going to set herself up in disguise to try to get at Cersei.
Yeah.
I don't know if she'll be successful, but it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Either she might get into it, or she might not.
That's the thing. There are two people at this moment going for King's Landing, and they want to kill Cersei. That is Jaime and Arya.
Yes.
The thing is, Jaime, the moment he shows up at King's Landing, he will probably be shot. So he either needs to be very clever, he needs to join forces with someone, or he'll be dead. Arya has the advantage of being able to change her face, so she can become anyone and then just get into King's Landing without much problem, and then sneak up to Cersei. I just hope that they really do, that could be a very tense scene where while the Lannister forces are battling Daenerys' forces and Cersei is watching, that meanwhile both Jaime and Arya are trying to get there, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think that could be a very tense scene in the next one. Then we get the big moment. Euron anticipated Dany's move to go to Dragonstone, and boom, out of nowhere, I was so shocked, but thank fucking Christ I was shocked by this. He kills Rhaegal. Yeah. Rhaegal just goes down, and most of her fleet. And that was, for the first time in seasons, that I felt, this is Game of Thrones. Yeah. This is why I love this show. Because sometimes they can just kill off a character, and you're like, holy shit, what just happened?
It changes the entire landscape of...
Oh, yeah.
And I would say, like, losing Rhaegal is a lot, but also how much she loses of her fleet and her soldiers, because that's almost a bigger hit. If any, I mean, obviously, yes, the dragon is irreplaceable. I get that, but it's when you stack those things on top of each other that's like, how is she going to do this now? And that sense of hopelessness is kind of nice. Like you're saying, it makes it feel like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
because you don't know what to expect.
That's how I felt. I suddenly remember how I felt after Ned was beheaded. I was like, what is going to happen now? Okay, then to be fair, you get Robb, who wants to go back. But then Robb gets killed in season 3, and you're like, what will happen now? And also in season 4, when Tyrion gets his trial by combat, and you think Oberyn is going to win, but the Mountain kills him. And it's like, what happens? That feeling I haven't felt since season 4, essentially. The what now? And finally I have it back. And that's why I actually really love this move. Now, to be fair, I see everyone complaining about the fact that why didn't Euron go for Drogon and Dany? He did. After he got Rhaegal, he was just focusing on Rhaegal first and then went for Drogon. But Daenerys is smart, and she's actually faced this weapon before, so she knows how to evade it. Rhaegal didn't. Rhaegal hasn't faced that weapon before. And people are complaining about the fact, how didn't they see Euron? Well, to be fair, you get the reveal of that they were hiding. I can understand that.
If you're not looking for them, you're not going to see them, because they're off to the complete side behind those rocks. And if you're intent on going straight forward, you're not necessarily going to notice someone that's leagues away.
That's also the thing, like that. Like Daenerys was just enjoying the fact that she saw Rhaegal fly again, because she wasn't even sure if he could fly because of his wounds from the previous episode. Right. So she was just looking, okay, he's doing well, and then boom. It was, oh my God, what a moment. I watched it with Arena, and we were both in complete shock, like, holy shit, this just happened. And yeah, it really changes everything. So in the meantime, Varys is talking to Tyrion about betraying Dany. Now, as we know, 3 betrayals for Daenerys throughout the entire show. We've had 2. Is this the 3rd? And the question is it Varys or Tyrion or both? I'm not entirely sure. But it really does seem like one of them or both will definitely betray her. So, Dany is...
What really stood out to me about that scene, though, is Varys, he said, obviously, throughout the entire show that his allegiance is to the realm, where everyone else's is to some man, woman, or child. His has always been to the realm as a whole, meaning, the people that can't defend themselves. He speaks for them. He defends them. But ultimately, it comes down to his own personal preference.
Yeah.
Like Tyrion kind of says, like, okay, and how many people have you been working for?
And he really quickly counters that with, I have my reasons. It's like,
right.
Shut up.
Exactly. And they were his reasons, though, and he has his own. But what I really, really liked is he just doesn't say a word. Tyrion kind of insinuates, so you're saying you're going to kill her? And he's just like, I'll do what I have to do, essentially, is what that look was. And Tyrion's like, now, okay, do I help him, or do I try to stop him, or do I just let things play out? Tyrion has a lot of decisions to make, and I think Varys is going to look into how he can take Daenerys out, because he's not happy with the decisions that she's been making. No. And honestly, she hasn't been making very good decisions anyway.
No, because in the last season, there was a conversation between Varys and Daenerys where Daenerys says, if there's ever a moment, don't go behind my back, please. Look me in the eye and tell me what you think. Now, he did that, and of course, Daenerys is...
think about it.
No, Daenerys is like, I don't believe you. I don't care, and I'm going to just do what I've always wanted. So, yeah, Daenerys is making stupid decisions, and Varys is like, yeah, no. So
because the last thing he wants is to see another mad Targaryen on the throne, and that's obviously his ultimate fear. And to prevent that, I think he's willing to do what it takes.
Indeed. Well, now we get the final scene. Of course, Missandei was captured during the attack, and then we get the scene where all of Daenerys' forces, not a lot, go to King's Landing and face Cersei. Now, here's a question. Why didn't Cersei just fire everything they had and kill all of them? Because she could have done that and it would have been over. Of course, I know that is because we have a next episode and plot armor and stuff, but seriously, if that's the reason, then don't even do this scene. Don't just, like, this scene was very unnecessary in my opinion, because at the end, the result would have been the exact same as if Daenerys wouldn't have showed up with her forces. Missandei would have died anyway. So
I mean, my main problem wasn't even that. It was, how did they know that Missandei had been taken? I mean, I think you could have shown maybe a messenger from Cersei or something saying, hey.
To be fair, they did know that Missandei was missing.
Right, but then in the next scene, it's like Daenerys says, "Oh, they have Missandei." That's like they magically know.
And this is yet again an issue that seasons 7 and 8 have really suffered from. Where previously in Game of Thrones, in all the previous seasons, they would always focus on how do they get there. Right. Now it's just jump, jump, jump.
Right, and there's really no good explanation. You could have even had a single shot of a raven flying down, and then she reads it, and now she knows. Yeah. But that aside, what I will disagree with as far as like, why didn't Cersei just wipe out Daenerys? I think it's because, one, she knows that Jon and the rest of the forces are still coming. So really that doesn't solve all her problems, because I think even though she doesn't know Jon's secret, she still knows there's a threat to her throne. And really, she doesn't necessarily benefit from just destroying Daenerys right away. And then also, I think she takes a kind of pleasure in outwitting and outsmarting and winning against people and seeing people suffer. And that's just, she wants to see Daenerys fully defeated, not wiped out like that. And that's why she motioned for Tyrion to live as well, because she wants to watch Tyrion's downfall. Yeah, she wants
Yeah.
to see him dead also, but it's not enough for her to just see him. And again, this is my read of it. I could be wrong, and that it really could just be plot armor. But when I was watching it, that was the feeling that I got, because I was, especially after seeing Rhaegal die, I was like, wait, are they really going to kill Tyrion right here?
I was thinking the same thing.
The fact that was back, but I'm glad that she didn't, because it makes more sense in my mind for her character. It's like, no, it's not about everyone dying. It's about Tyrion's still alive, which means Bronn failed, which means now she wants to see his downfall. It's like all these falling dominoes. And to be honest, I think also what Tyrion says to her about the child and all of that really just progresses that whole, this is not just about killing everyone, it's about being the winner.
That's true. There is something very interesting, though. The fact that Tyrion actually says that Tyrion says something about the child, which just shows that Tyrion knows that Cersei is pregnant. If Euron thinks for 2 seconds about the fact that Cersei and Tyrion haven't spoken to each other until before Euron and Cersei got together, then Euron will instantly figure out he's not the dad. If that comes back into play, and I really hope it does, because Euron is smart. The fact that he actually took out a goddamn dragon and the fleet was because of him being smart. If he is that smart, he should also be able to figure out that he's not the dad. And I really hope that it comes into play in the next episode, because suddenly that will shake things up immensely in Camp Lannister. So, yeah, I hope they do something with that information, because it is something that Tyrion said. But we'll have to wait and see about that. After the encounter, Missandei is dead. We all expected that, really.
We all expected it, but I think that, and Grey Worm, his reaction is obviously predictable, but I think that the absolute rage that you get, which Emilia Clarke, she's not one of my favorite actresses, to be perfectly honest, but she does well enough. But in this scene, she does, I think, a really good job of just portraying. She shows how much this has really become personal to Daenerys. Yeah. No more is it, I want to be on the throne for the good of the people. No, it's, I want to be on the throne, and Cersei is standing in my way, because and I'm about to do whatever the hell I have to do to get her out of here, because I'm sick of her. She's just a total asshole all the time, a total bitch to everyone, and I want her gone because she's standing in my way. And it's no longer about helping people.
Especially because Cersei murdered one of Daenerys' most trusted advisors and friends since season 3. And the asshole standing beside her, Euron, took out one of her children. So she was so pissed. And like already when she saw Rhaegal, I thought Emilia Clarke was really good in that scene where she sees Rhaegal and say, oh shit, and she is so angry but also sad at the same time. And then indeed when Missandei also dies, she was really good in this episode. So
from all the range of emotions that she played, and her scene with Jon, which was like very, she kind of like, Daenerys lets her guard down and says, look, I've never begged for anything before, but I'm begging you, because whether I should love you or I shouldn't, it doesn't matter, because I do. So yeah, I would say that Emilia Clarke did really well. And I think that it sets up for the next episode really well, that anger, because I don't know if we're going to necessarily get a full-on Mad Queen Daenerys, but I think it's going to be, she becomes very foolish in her decisions, and it's going to, I assume it'll be her downfall.
I think Daenerys, based on these past couple of episodes, Daenerys is not going to end up on the Iron Throne. She might actually die in the next episode, and that would be very logical. Also, it would absolutely destroy me, considering she was my favorite character. But yeah, if you just see how it has all played out, it only makes sense. There is no way she can get out of this on top. She might win against Cersei, but she will not sit on the Iron Throne. And probably in her rage in like, I want to sit on the Iron Throne, it's going to get her killed or something else. I'm not sure. we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the next episode is the battle for the Iron Throne. I am expecting a lot of this episode once again, because it's once again directed by Miguel Sapochnik, the guy who directed Hard Home, Battle of the Bastards, Winds of Winter, and The Long Night. Say what you will about The Long Night, at least it was well directed. I know that this guy can direct these episodes with battles really well. So I have a lot of hopes for this next episode, and I really hope that we just get a couple of brutal character deaths where I'm just on the edge of my seat. I don't know what will happen, because that is what Game of Thrones is. And I got that feeling back in this episode. That's why ultimately I like the episode. I got a feeling of I don't know what will happen. What are your final thoughts on the episode and predictions for next week?
I really like this episode. I'm glad that the days of we need to fight the dead are over. I'm glad that we're back into the political intrigue, and we don't know what's going to happen, and constant going around behind people and stabbing each other in the back, and unexpected deaths that kind of hit hard because you're like, damn, she only is down to one dragon now.
Yeah.
How the hell can she possibly hope to win? And also this dragon is vulnerable, because look at how many of those new ballista they have. They're ready.
Scorpions.
Exactly.
Oh,
they're ready. So it's not going to be just waltz in there and burn everyone alive like she maybe thought it would be. So I'm predicting, yes, we're going to get, I'm hoping, it sounds weird to say, but I'm hoping, yes, a lot of death. Like, I need people to die in unexpected ways, because otherwise I feel like I know how everything's going to go down. So I need to be surprised, because after 8 seasons, you deserve to have an ending that just leaves you like, whoa, this is crazy. And that's what you want. So hopefully we get there. And I think that Jon and Daenerys, their relationship in this battle and how it goes forward is going to be probably the most interesting part to me. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also, like you said, Sapochnik is a great director. I don't hate The Long Night as much as everyone else does. But hopefully in this one, maybe we get a battle during the day, kind of like Blackwater.
We will.
I think that would be nice to see. Because just for something different. And I'm really interested to see also what Cersei does to protect her unborn child as well. I think that's going to change how her decisions are made, because I think that scene between her and Tyrion happens for a reason. It's more than just him trying to change her into surrendering. It's also, she thinks about it. She's like, damn, he's right. Like, I can't just go off like I used to, making all the decisions that I want. I actually have I have no children except for this one, and I need to, protect him unlike I did with the others.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, I feel that the last scene is kind of pointless, but you say it probably happened for a reason, because Tyrion does say some words. I wonder, though, if Daenerys was able to hear that Tyrion knew about the child. If Daenerys heard that might also be a very big issue for Tyrion, because then Daenerys will confront him like, you know that she had a child. Why didn't you tell me about this? Since when did you know?
Well, also, do we know that Tyrion already knew, or did he just feel like he knew?
No. We know, because in the season finale of season 7, when Tyrion goes to Cersei to talk in private, at one point he's like, "You're pregnant," when she is rubbing her belly. So it's he definitely knows. So
that'll be interesting.
But like this shows why also the show is called Game of Thrones, and the books are called A Song of Ice and Fire. The books are about the Army of the Dead and whatnot, and the show is more about the throne. So it's going to be about the throne in the next episode. I have high hopes. Like, my expectations are not as high as they could be because of the rest of the season. Because so far this season has gotten quite low ratings on IMDb. Actually, The Long Night is now one of the lowest 5 episodes rated in the entire show. To be fair, it's still at an 8.5, so that's a pretty good rating.
Yeah.
But that's one of the lowest rated episodes of the entire show still. So yeah, I just hope. I have high hopes for the last 2 episodes, but I'm managing expectations just in case. Anyway, guys, I think that's really all we can say about this episode of Game of Thrones. So please let us know in the comments, what did you think? Did you hate it like a lot of people? Did you love it like some people did? Or are you with us that it was a good episode, but it has some problems? Let us know all your thoughts. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And Ryan, where can people find you online?
People can find me on Twitter at Clan McClellan and on Instagram at Vintage Sights and Sounds. And then I'm always on this channel doing various different things. And I have a new show out called Downtune Dissection, which is all about metal. We just talk about different metal albums, whether new or old, and their influences on the genre as a whole. So you can check out the first episode now where I talk with our own Chris Doman about Linkin Park's Meteora.
Indeed. And of course, you can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at D2A Channel. We also have a new podcast feed for the Who Cares Anyway podcast that Chris started. So you can find us on iTunes and Spotify, stuff like that. Then check out our Shmono reactions that we have on this channel. Actually, check out the Who Cares Anyway podcast also on this channel, because we do it live every Friday on this channel with a different topic every week. So that. And you can find me at Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, Kees Cornelis on Facebook, and Letterboxd. And I believe that's about it. So guys, until our next video, take care.